All right. And good evening, everyone. Let's make sure, yep, we're all set up on the old Facebook as well. Hope everybody's doing well and hanging in there. If you are hanging out, I really do appreciate you spending the time. I know I'm up against, I know I'm against the president and all that stuff, but maybe you're watching live. Like, I don't want to deal with this guy. I'd rather learn about something productive. Good. So now, over the next 3 Mondays, we'll starting today, and over the next today and the following 2 Mondays, we'll be working on Padmasana, Lotus pose. Kind of a complicated posture. A little bit of my own history. This was a posture that came to me very early on. I remember my very first experience with yoga was when I was either 5 or 6. And this was around 1979, 1980-ish. I remember because I was at my cousin's house, and there was my very first experience with yoga. Ripley's Believe It or Not. There's been a few different iterations of it since the 70s, that's for sure. But I remember there was this guy who stuffed himself into a 5-gallon, got real small, just stuffed himself into like a 5-gallon, jug, which is ridiculous. And then he did a yoga demonstration, which my cousin and I were just like messing around. And one of them, of course, was like Lotus pose. So yeah, you're 5 or 6 years old, you do Lotus pose. It's relatively easy. And it was true that this was a posture that kind of came pretty natural to me when I revisited yoga when I was 19 years old, when I started practicing for real. And it did come pretty natural. It took me a little while, and this is certainly a posture that you have to, it would travel with the seasons, if you will, where in the beginning it felt a lot more natural in the summer months. And I remember like many seasons, very wintry seasons, where I would not have Lotus for some time. And gradually it became, over many years, it gradually became something that I did no matter what season it was. The practice of yoga, of course, this is hopefully a testament to, how continued practice can really pay off over time. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. Today is a little bit of like an exploratory practice into it. We're going to look at some of the postures that are going to help provide some kind of opening or actually closing that is really required for this posture. And by closing, I mean it's a little bit like that guy who's like kind of stuffed himself, made himself super small, and stuffed himself into this 5-gallon jug. If those of you familiar with the Ashtanga primary series, there's a lot of forward fold, there's a lot of contraction, a lot of kind of closing yourself inward. And a lot of the postures also require lots of flexion, lots of deepening the range of motion of certain joints. And one of them, of course, is the knee joint. Now, when we think about yoga, there's going to be those really fun, crazy postures that require a lot of intense balance and strength, like arm balances and so on. But in Lotus, and of course there's the other end of that, right? The flexibility side of things as well, where you're stretching your hamstrings and your back and you're doing back bends and yada, yada, yada. But when it comes to Lotus posture, it's all about improving the range of motion of your knee in a flexed position, right? And having the ability to fully close that joint is, it's an essential prerequisite to that posture. Now there's, because if you can't close that joint fully and you're trying to move yourself into Lotus pose, but you have this big window here between the upper and lower leg, you try to force yourself into Lotus, then your knee's just going to become compromised. Now, the other kind of essential part of this is hip rotation, right? Having a good external rotation in the hip so that it can provide that, that rotation so that the knee does not have to. All right, so those of you out there who've been practicing yoga for some time, maybe gone through teacher trainings and so on. Our teacher trainings, we talk about this all the time because if you're forcing yourself into Lotus and the hip's really not prepared for it, then what's going to happen is the knee's going to torque. Right? It's going to become misaligned, and you're going to be feeling it the next day, or you could potentially do some really severe damage if you keep forcing things over a very long period of time. So you got to take your time with it. Now, there's a few things. One thing kind of seems counter to the other. As I mentioned, I love, really getting my students to work on the flexion of their knees. I've noticed that a lot of times for students who might have really good rotation in their hips, and yet they can't really seem to achieve a nice, solid, and intelligent lotus posture, a lot of times it's density in the knee. There's a few postures that will certainly expose that, and we'll review them today. Now, the other end of that is actually strengthening the hamstring, right? Because the hamstring, of course, here in the back of the leg, you'd think, okay, well, if I'm going to strengthen this up, it's going to get a little bulky, and it's going to be really difficult for me to, bend that knee very deeply. Now, I have an advantage. I got, as my wife likes to say, my 1940s legs, right? They're all skinny, and, so there's a little bit of an advantage there for sure. But, very powerful hamstrings can be really good in maintaining alignment in the knee once we're kind of prepared to kind of lock it in. You know what I mean? All right. So so one thing I do want to stress here is that, Lotus posture, we will look at modifications, of course. And like I said, I would, in the beginning here, as I practiced my Lotus posture, there were certainly lots of ups and downs, right? And we don't want to get into a place where we're just forcing it because, John's only doing this for, 3 weeks and I got to figure it out in 3 weeks. No, it might take you 3 years. It might take you even longer than that, right? Because everybody's body is very different. So please use lots of caution. Be smart about your practice. I don't want you forcing yourself into a pose just because you desire it. I want you to know how to back off, right? That's where we really start to practice yoga, right? The ego is going to desire posture. And then, we're checking ourselves, practicing detachment. We're like, we'll wait a minute. So today we explored a little bit. We'll look at some modifications. We'll attempt, the standing, maybe the seated posture as well today. And next week, we'll get into it a little bit more. We'll start to, maybe explore some deeper variations of the pose. Hopefully some with some modifications. We will always do this kind of prep. So those of you who do not have a very solid Lotus posture, if you're just looking for some keys to unlock the secrets of this posture, then continue with me for the next 3 weeks. Even on that third week when we start doing some like crazy variations and things like that. And of course, if you ever attend my current sequence here in spring of 2020, the best spring ever, we were doing a lot of Lotus postures on our Saturday morning classes. So, some of those have been made available both on YouTube and on Facebook. All right, anyway, we should get started. I'm producing this on Facebook as well, so I don't have a timer. I don't even know how long this is going to take today. So I might have to, mosey on up to the screen every now and again just to check out the time. All right, so let's step to the top of the mat. All right, toes touch. We're going to sound off with a single Om. So bring your hands to your heart. And let's just kind of key in here. Let's take a full inhale. Samasthiti. Let's begin with some salutations. All right, so stand at the top of your mat, toes touch. Let's take an inhale. Arms rise up, reach up, gaze up to those thumbs, and as you exhale, let's fold, bow down, taking chin in the chest. And we'll take an inhale. Let's look up halfway and lengthen, and exhale. Plant those hands, step or float your way back and lower either chaturanga or to your belly. That is, of course, your choice. We take a full inhale. We move through up dog or cobra. Nice strong legs and belly. Exhale your way back into down dog. We're going to come down onto our knees. Take a few rounds of cat-cow to begin. So as you inhale, chin and tail lift, and as you exhale, the chin and tail tuck. Right, breathing full. Inhale, chin and tail lift. Exhale, then chin and tail tuck. And inhale, chin and tail lift, for that cow shape. And then exhale, chin and tail tuck for that cat shape. When we take an inhale, let's find neutral position. Once you keep that right knee bent at 90 and just firm the belly here, right? Keep that spine nice and strong. And then we're going to inhale and just lift that right knee kind of parallel to the hip, right? Even with the hip. Keep the ribs rising and the right leg kind of swinging or the right foot swinging to the right side of your mat. Try to find balance in the hands and keep the ribs nice and strong. Now we're keeping roughly 90 in that right leg right now. Try to work on relaxing your right butt cheek a little bit, but lift that right knee up just a bit higher, right? And if you can, you're going to kind of find your balance on that right hand and left knee and just reach back to that right hamstring with the left hand and see if you can feel that little bit of engagement in that right hamstring. Now, we're going to keep that for a moment, and we're going to work on bending that right knee as we exhale. So we're trying to draw the right heel to the butt, and then we're going to inhale, straighten, or not straighten, we're just going to keep it at 90. Right? And then we're going to exhale again and bend. Right? Really working, you probably feel a bit more intensity in that hamstring now. Inhale, just keep it at 90. And then exhale, we're going to bend that right knee, try to tap the butt with your heel. And inhale, let's straighten fully. And exhale, lower the right knee down. Inhale, that left knee lifts up. Remember, keeping that 90 degree. Right? And as we keep the knee at 90, we're going to ensure engagement throughout, right? And we're just kind of, it's like turning the dial on the engagement of that hamstring. So here, it's moderate. And then as we exhale and bend that left knee and try to bring the left heel to your butt, right, we intensify that engagement. Then we inhale and we don't soften completely, right, because we're only at 90. And then we exhale and bend and try to tap the butt with the heel. Inhale, and left knee to 90, and then exhale and bend. Good. Inhale, straighten, and exhale, lower the left knee down. Toes tuck. We'll take an inhale and lift the hips on up just for 3 breaths in your down dog. 3. Now breathe full and focus on your breath. 2. And 1. Now exhale, bend those knees and step or float your way to the top of your mat. Take an inhale. Let's look up halfway, lengthen, and then fold, exhale. Inhale, let's rise up and reach up, gaze the thumbs. Exhale, Samasthiti, arms by your sides. Now inhale, arms rise up, gaze up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, look up halfway, lengthen. Planting those hands, exhale, step or float back, lower. Full inhale, either up dog or cobra. And then exhale your way back into down dog. This time we're going to lower knees down. Right, knees together. Now you can either one, sit back onto the heels. Now if you have very tight knees, you're going to become aware of it very quickly. In which case, you might have to get a stack of books and place them between your feet so that you can prop yourself up. And this is going to be a sure sign that the knees are not quite prepared just yet. So something as easy as thunderbolt can be really useful in getting your knees up to snuff for your Padmasana, your lotus posture. Now, if you can, you're going to separate the feet and then sit down between the heels. Now, the flexion of that right knee really intensifies here, right? So this joint of the knee is really like it's as closed as it's going to get. Now, we're going to sit up nice and tall, right? Now, what I want you to perform is a lot of the same action we did when we were in that tabletop position, but it's going to be more isometric, right? So as we exhale, I want you to feel like you're trying to lift your heels or your feet up off of the mat and your heels directly upwards by, again, engaging those hamstrings. Then as we inhale, we're just going to relax and let the body kind of rest downwards. Right? And you do this whether you're sitting on your heels, sitting on books, or sitting between your heels, okay? So let's take an inhale. And as you exhale, engage the hamstrings as if you're trying to lift the feet up off the mat. Inhale, then relax. Right, now you might be able to place your fingers beside those knee joints and exhale, engage, right? And you might feel or see the muscles in the legs start to engage. Inhale, relax. Exhale and engage the hamstrings. Try to close that knee joint off. Inhale, relax. Exhale, bend, right? Engage. Inhale, soften. Exhale, engage. Inhale, soften. Good. Exhale, engage. Then inhale, come forward, tabletop to down dog. Exhale, toes tuck, hips rise. Right? Now you keep the knees bent here, but if you can, fully straighten the knees. Nice, immediate counter to that exercise you just did with the legs. For 3, 2, and 1. Now exhale, bend your knees, step or float your way to the top of your mat. And take an inhale, let's look up halfway, lengthen, and then fold, exhale. Inhale, rise up, reach up, gaze the thumbs. Then exhale, Samasthiti, arms by your sides. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold. Halfway inhale. Chaturanga quietly exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 1, I was breathing 5 breaths here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, then you step or float to the top of your mat. We take an inhale, look up halfway. Then fold, exhale. Inhale, rise up, reach up, gaze the thumbs. Samasthiti, exhale. So citations B, inhale, knees bend, arms rise, gaze to thumbs. Fold, exhale. Halfway inhale. And exhale, step or float back lower. Inhale. Exhale. Lift that right foot forward, left heel down, warrior 1. Inhale, rise up, gaze up. Exhale, touch down, step back and lower. Inhale. Exhale. Left foot forward, right heel down. Inhale, rise up, gaze up. Exhale, touch down, step back and lower, keeping your chin up. Fold. Inhale, up dog. Then into down dog, exhale. 1. And just breathing here, smooth and even. 2. 3. Oh, hey guys, how's it going? Hi, guys, away. 4. And sorry I was late today. Stuck in that traffic in Philly. And 5. Exhale to the top. Halfway inhale, lengthen. And then fold, exhale. Inhale, knees bend, arms rise, gaze the thumbs. And Samasthiti, exhale. And bring your hands to your hips, hop those feet hips distance. Take an inhale, look up. And fold, exhale, Padangusthasana. Catch big toes, first 2 fingers of each hand. Take an inhale, look up and lengthen. And then we're going to fold, exhale. 5 breaths here. 1, shoulders moving back and down. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're taking an inhale. Let's look up halfway. Bakasana. Exhale, palms flat to your mat. Knees move to upper arms. Now so, Bakasana, what we got going on here exactly? The thing we have going on here is that, again, that compact shape, right? Getting that really compact shape. Notice my knees are moving to my upper arms. Usually I ask if a student cannot get into Bakasana, into crane pose, that they lean forward, they tip weight into the hands, and they work on their, strengthening their upper body. But in this case, I actually want you to get in this really crouched position. Notice again that knee joint really close, hip joint also really closed here. For those of you familiar with the posture, maybe we take an inhale, rock forward. Maybe the feet lift on up. If so, really want you to lift those heels high. 1. Where you are, breathe full. 2. Right? I want to, again, contract those muscles, engage those muscles of the hamstring. 3. 4. So my toes point, heels lift. Navasana, cross ankles, sit yourself down. And now let's lift the legs up and through, gaze to toes. 1, chest up, shoulders back. 2, 3, 4, and keeping the position, I want you to turn the right toes. Notice I'm trying to turn my right knee out to the right, and then I'm going to bring my right foot close to my left knee. The shape of my Navasana has now changed quite a bit. Breathe in here. 1, 2, 3. Keep the right heel moving towards the body. The knee kind of not pushing down, but 4. You'll notice you'll have to engage the inner thigh. This could be good work as well. And 5. Crossing the ankles, plant those hands, step or float your way back and lower chaturanga. We take a full inhale, up dog. And into down dog, exhale. Right away, top of the mat, toes touch. Halfway inhale, lengthen. And fold, exhale. Knees bend, arms rise, Utkatasana, inhale. To stand, exhale, Samastiti. We'll bring those hands to the hips. Again, hop feet, hips distance. Take an inhale, look up. And then fold, exhale. Padasana. Step on palms, toes to wrists. With an inhale, we look up halfway. And then we fold, exhale, breathing. 1, 2, 3. You can try to lift the pinky toe edges of the feet. 4. The heels as if scrubbing away from one another. And 5. Inhale, let's look up halfway, lengthen. And exhale, Bakasana, palms flat to the mat. Again, those knees are gonna move to the upper arms. Inhale, we might rock forward and try to lift on up. If not, again, stay in this crouched position. 1, breathing deeply, fully. Again, if you can, right, those heels high. 2, I'd be confident. 3, I see yourself in the pose if you've yet to achieve it. 4, work on your breath, heels lift. 5, Navasana, sitting yourself down, inhale, legs lift up and through. 1, gaze to toes. 2, 3, 4, focus on your breath. And 5. Now, we're going to bend that left knee. Remember, this extra rotation here in this hip joint, very good work, that's for sure. Try to bend that left leg. Right, again, our Navasana position is going to change a little bit, changes its shape, but that's okay. 1. There, keep that left knee kind of moving down and out, if you will. 2, the left heel moving back towards the body. 3, 4, and 5. Exhale, cross ankles, plant hand, step or float your way back and lower chaturanga. Now we take a full inhale, up dog. Into down dog. Exhale. Right foot forward, left heel down. Warrior 1. Inhale, rise up, gaze to thumbs. Then 1, breathing full here, step strong left foot. 2, shoulders down away from the back, from the ears. 3, 4, and 5. Exhale, let's fold over the right leg. Revolve half moon. We're going to inhale, lift the left leg up parallel to the floor, and exhale the left hand underneath the left shoulder. You know me, those of you who practice with me regularly, I like to keep the left hand floating if you can, only if you can. Inhale, that right arm reaches up. 1, I want the left inner thigh reaching upwards, left knee points down. 2, 3, again, this is where we have that whole connection here from the back of the knee through the hamstring into the hip. 4. Right, we lack that external rotation, of course, but that's okay. Again, we're working that one part so critical to an effective Padmasana. Good. Exhale, hands come down. Lunging the left leg back. Right knee bends. Inhale, arms rise up, reach up. We'll take a twist here. Exhale, left elbow across right thigh. Lift the heart to the thumbs. Inhale. And 1. Yeah, you might deepen your twist if you got it. 2. Now, the curious thing here with twists, 3, we actually do get some good, rotators for sure. Abductors, definitely on that outer edge of the right hip. 4. Focus on your breath. Deep inhale. And 5. Warrior 2. Inhale, unwind. Good. Exhale, straighten right leg. Setting up triangle pose. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, out and over. Hand maybe to the shin or big toe. Gaze up, left thumb, inhale. 1. Now, without squeezing your butt or pushing things too much, right? Get the hips forward, chest back. 2. Think about the tailbone moving down towards left heel. 3. Because between warrior 2 and triangle pose and extended side angle, it's good work on external rotation that hip. 4. And 5. And now reverse warrior. Exhale that right knee bends. Left arm behind your back, reaching right arm up. Inhale, stretch that right side. And then we're going to exhale and bring that left hand down to the inside of that right foot. We're going to turn to the blade edge of the left foot. Now, I love this posture personally. It's a modification for side plank, but it's a very subtle external rotation, and we start to get into those rotators, started stretching out those hips a little bit. Now, the place where you position this right foot is completely dependent on your level of flexibility in that right hip. So notice I'm pointing both my left and right toes of both my left and right foot in the same direction, right? Off to the right side of my mat. I'm then going to take this right hand, I'm going to actively externally rotate the thigh and work the knee back and down towards the left foot. Keep the left knee nice and strong. 1, I'm opening the body up a little bit. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Exhale, that right hand comes down. Let's inhale, that right leg lifts back and up, down dog split. Exhale, moving the chaturanga. Toes touch, forward and down. We lower, full inhale, up dog, and then into down dog. Exhale. Left foot forward, right heel down for warrior 1. Inhale, rise up, gaze up. 1. Right. Solidify the foundation so strong. 2. Ribs in. 3. Relax the jaw, your brow, right? Remove any wrinkles from the brow. 4. And 5. Revolved half moon. I always like to float into it, but if you need to, both hands come down first. Maybe you tent up that right hand. Left arm reaches up. Inhale, right leg parallel to the floor. 1. You want the right knee pointing down, inner thigh lifting up. 2. Right leg also moving into midline. 3. 4. And 5. Good. Exhale, left hand down. We lunge that right leg back. Left knee bends. Inhale, arms rise up, reach up. Standing crescent pose. Into a twist. Exhale, right elbow across left thigh. Inhale, lifting the heart to the thumbs. And then exhale again. You might deepen your twist. 1. 2. 3. 4, strong legs, deep breaths. And 5. Warrior 2, unwind, inhale. Exhale, straighten left leg. We take an inhale, setting up Trikonasana, triangle pose. Exhale, out and over. Hand to shin or big toe hold. Inhale, right arm reaches up, gaze up. 1. Remember, trying to actively, softly, send those hips forward in space. 2. Ribs are in, the tailbone moves down towards the right heel. 3. 4, and 5. Reverse forward. Exhale, left knee bent, right arm behind your back, reaching left arm up. Inhale, stretch left side. Keep the left knee over the ankle. Exhale. This time the right hand comes down inside that left foot. And remember, we're taking this kind of side plank variation where we can get into that left hip a little bit. My left knee's at 90. Both the toes of both my right and left foot are pointing to the left. That's a difficult instruction, actually. All right, we're going to take the left hand and rotate that left thigh. I'm trying to get that thigh meat to move in the same direction as the hip. 1, lift out the right shoulder. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Exhale. That left hand comes down, back toes tuck in. Inhale, left leg back it up, down dog split. Chaturanga, exhale, toes tap, lower, forward, and down full. Inhale, up dog. And into down dog, exhale. We're going to bring that right knee down just below the right hip and turn the right foot forward towards the left hand. Now notice my spacing here. I'm not in pigeon pose just yet. All right, I'm going to connect here, though, the ankle and the knee. And I'm going to take the toes of the right foot and try to curl them under. I try to if you can. If you cannot, it's not too big a deal. Now from here, I'm trying to sit back, right? I'm just exhaling and I'm sitting back. Notice my right knee is lifting a little bit. That's fine. Just stay balanced. Breathing, right? I feel this activity already in that outer edge right hip, right? And that's what I want you to feel. For some of us, you might be sitting back all the way, in which case you might have to get to the inside of that left heel. That right foot might start to hover, which is okay. Right, we're basically just in a half double pigeon, if that makes sense. 1, and so the further you sit back, the more likely you are to start to work into that deep flexion of the left knee. 2, 3. Now notice I'm trying to keep my spine as straight as possible. I'm setting the belly down between the triangle I've made with my legs. 4, which will be a cue I give later on. And again, for those of you that attend classes regular, I use it a lot. And 5, inhale, come forward. We take this funky tabletop position and exhale your way back into down dog. We do the other side. The left knee lowers. I swing the left foot forward. The right knee now lowers just behind the right ankle. I point the toes of the right foot, but I'm going to work on lifting the left heel and curl the toes of the left foot under. Right? Again, if it doesn't quite happen, you might be able to do it as you start to sit back, right? So again, I'm going to work on sitting back. Again, those of you who are a little bit tighter in the hips, you might take the seat back only part way before you really start to feel that left hip light up. And again, right, if you've got it, we're going to work on sitting to the inside of that right heel if you can. As if we're working on Tirya Mukha Kapala Paschimottanasana, which is an essential pose, really, for improving your lotus posture. 1, again, notice as I take the fold, I'm trying to draw the navel forward between the triangle I've made with my legs. 2, and those of you with like super tight, super open hips, I should say. 3, it might be like just folding over this leg. And if that's the case, I want you to press the ankle down into this right leg to engage the outer edge of that left hip. 4, don't just fall into your flexibility. Right, Ellie, if you're out there watching, I don't want you to work on engagement. And 5. Inhale, we come forward to that tabletop position, back toes tuck, and we move back into down dog. Now let's step or float our way to the top of the mat. We'll take a full inhale, we lengthen out. Exhale, sit down upon your heels. So for those of you who have tighter, if the knees are not quite capable of doing this, I want you to take Utkatasana, right? We're here and we're lifting here, and that is totally fine. But quite honestly, right, as we work our way down, right, you could be here if need be, but if you can, you're sitting down onto those heels. We just wrap the arms around the legs for 5 deep breaths. 1, it's not unlike being in a child's pose. 2, as you exhale, I want you to try to engage those hamstrings, much like we did in the beginning of practice. 3, so we exhale, engage. Inhale, soften. 4, and 5. Good, the hands come down, the butt lifts up. Inhale. Good, we look up halfway. We'll take a fold, exhale. Inhale, let's rise up, reach up, gaze to thumbs, and Samastiti, exhale. Working off of some of the concepts we just reviewed, we're going to take that right foot, we're going to get this little figure four shape just above the left knee. I'm pushing through that right heel, and I'm starting to sit myself back. Now, I know in classes they usually take us up into the arm balance, which we'll get to maybe next week or the third week. Right? Maybe as we work on that deep flexion of the left knee, your hands might reach down and catch the floor, right? Maybe, but if not, it's okay. So even right here, I'm really starting to feel that opening in that right hip. Now, if possible, I want you to sit down upon that left heel. Right? As we sit down onto that left heel, we're still pushing through that right heel and just finding our balance. I'm not too good at this posture. I know it's, I think it's part of Bikram or something like that. And if that's the case, that's fine or whatever, but maybe you take your hands to your heart. One, I think they like lower into it too or something like that. But two, for us, especially if you're working on rotation of the hip, it's like we're sitting back and pressing the chest forward to find that stretch. Three, right, for those of you on the more flexible side, work on your balance. Try to lift those hands up. Four, you always got to kind of work from where you start, from where you're starting. And five. Good, and we're going to inhale, lift those hips on up. Good, exhale here, and then we're going to inhale, come on up to stand, still balancing on that left foot. We're going to take that right foot to the left inner thigh for tree pose. Again, those of you who take my classes a lot, you probably know where we're going here, right? The hands are at the heart. And then we're going to take the foot off of that thigh and engage the back of that right knee, something I love kind of torturing my students with. I usually don't let them hang out in the posture for too long, and we won't stay here too long because after all, I do have to demonstrate. I don't want to be here, but no, it is good stuff. As a matter of fact, if you take your right hand behind that right knee, you can feel some of those tendons of the hamstring really firing off. Now, you can either one, take that right foot as high up as you possibly can on that left thigh. Again, notice I've got very little to no space between the upper and lower leg, and this is much more desirable for your lotus positions. Now, if you notice that you can't quite achieve that, I do want you to stay in tree pose. But if you do notice that there's very little space here, we're taking that right foot to the knee, the blade edge of that right foot to the crease of the left hip, and we're starting to take on the shape of that half lotus position. We might even take it down, that right foot is being supported by the left hand, the right arm goes round back, where you might bind the forearm, or if you can, you catch the foot. If you're in that tree position, that's fine. Every now and again, take the foot off of the thigh. If you have the bind, we might take the exhale and fold. One. Ideally, the knee joint totally closed. Two. If you started your fold and you felt that right knee tighten up, be upright. 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, we look up halfway. We exhale there. We then inhale, we come up on up to stand, and Samastiti, exhale. All right, now we're going to take that left foot over the right knee here, right, switching up sides. We'll first work on the rotation of that left hip. So a prep for Ekapada Galavasana as you start to sit back. Again, some of us might start to feel that left hip talk to us a little bit as we approach quarter way, halfway, 3/4 the way, or all the way down as we might take the hands to the mat. So again, we're kind of working a lot of this double pigeon stuff. We're working on the flexion of the knee. Here, I'm sitting down onto that right heel again. And again, I'm working on the fold, but again, if you're really, really flexible, work on your balance a little bit. It's good for the feet, right? Like flip-flop season's coming up, so we might as well work on the strength of those feet. 1. Again, I'm trying to move my spine forward. 2. I can feel that, that intensity there in that left hip. 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, come on, back up to stand. With the exhale there, we inhale and come on up. So we're going to take that left foot to that tree posture, right? Wherever it might land, above or below the knee, just not on the knee joint. We first establish our center, then take the foot off of the thigh, right? We're breathing here, keeping the leg nice and strong. All right, so again, you might take the left hand behind that knee or under that thigh and feel the hamstring fire up. You want to keep that active. If you want, return to tree, that's fine. Or where we go through our progressions here. First, maybe taking the heel to navel, blade edge, left foot to the crease of the right hip. The right hand can support that left foot. Now, this is a perfect place to stay. As a matter of fact, if you find the left knee, in this case, the left side, is falling towards the floor and you feel any tension in that knee, I actually want you to actively lift it just about an inch. All right? And for those of you that use metric out there, about 2.5 centimeters. Right, so you're actively lifting that left thigh. Ellie, that was for you. All right, so that right hand supporting left foot, left arm goes around back. Again, you might find the forearm. Again, this might be as far as you go. You might catch the left foot. If you got that, or if you have that foot, make sure that the ankle bone doesn't cross the middle of the right thigh. We exhale, we might fold. So you really want to keep the blade to the crease of the head. It's like a little pocket there for your foot. 1, if you can, you tuck your chin and gaze softly backwards. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Halfway inhale, then exhale there. Inhale, come on up to stand. So Sthiti, exhale, top of the mat, toes touch. Inhale, arms rise up, gaze up. Exhale, fold. Halfway inhale, lengthen. Planting those hands, exhale, step and float back lower. Full inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. We're going to jump through the sit. Straight legs, inhale. Sit up nice and tall for Dandasana. 1. Breathe full. 2. And their shoulders rolling back and down. 3. 4. And 5. And Paschimottanasana, exhale and fold. Catch your feet. We take an inhale, look up. And then exhale, fold. Now, if you need to, of course, the knees are bent. 1. 2, shoulders moving back and down. 3. 4. Soften the brow, the jaw. 5. Head up, inhale. And then exhale and release. Purvottanasana. Take the hands back about 6 to 8 inches. Fingers point towards hips. If you need to, you can bend those knees. I like to take a tiny bend in the knees. This will ensure that those hamstrings start to work. Firm belly exhale. Press vertically down into the heels. Inhale, hips rise. Head back. Maybe gaze down the nose or third eye gaze for those Ashtangis out there. 1. Breathe up high. 2. 3. 4. And 5. Exhale and release. Now, again, for you Ashtangis out there, I always like to think about these first handful of postures, seated postures in the primary series, because in many ways they work their way backwards in an effort to get ready for Padmasana, for half lotus. So it would normally go half lotus. We then would go to Tiryan Mukha, right, which is what we're going to take right now. The right knee bends. Here, for some, we're sitting up onto a stack of books, right? If the knee is a little bit too tight, you'll start to notice the body tipping too much to the left. But right, if you're like me, my knee's tight enough, I'm swaying, I'm moving left. I'd rather you just deal with it, right? Deal with working your balance from your core. Right now, the toes of that right foot are pointing back, much like we did earlier. I want you to feel like you're engaging that right hamstring as if you're trying to close that right knee joint a little bit more. We take an inhale, we sit up tall, and maybe you fold, exhale. And I say maybe because It's a posture where you can get as much benefit out of the posture by not folding. 1. Matter of fact, this is a posture I've had knee surgery in 2004, not yoga related, snowboard related. I lost my lotus posture and it took me about a year or so to get it back. Actually, it took me about 2 years to get it back, quite honestly. But this posture was key to achieving lotus posture once again. And 5. Inhale, head up. And then exhale, release. We're going to dig that right foot out. And we're going to place Janushirshasana, again, would come after Tirya Mukha in the primary series. But, of course, half lotus is before all of this. Now we're going to inhale. So let's look at the similarities here. We have knee flexion and external rotation here. So the knee flexion isn't nearly as deep as we just experienced in Tirya Mukha. It could be a lot more mild for sure. Now, one of the key differences is the position of the pelvis in relation to the leg, the straight leg. And it's in a more obtuse angle. When we're in lotus pose, it's more perpendicular. Now, if you notice that you're dragging and trying to get that right heel back real far, and it's not quite going, or if you start feeling some torquing in the knee, you can't force it back. As a matter of fact, for some, you might have revealed between the right and left legs a pretty considerable triangle. And if that's the case, if you can see your mat pretty well, again, that usually means that, 1, there's some density in that hip. Usually, that's usually when the knee is up really high, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the knee flexion, the range of motion of that right knee isn't quite up to snuff. Now, if you do have that knee up kind of high, you go to that fold, and you're like, oh my God, what the heck? There's a lot of tightness in the hip that we really need to address. The adductors and some of those rotators are certainly getting in the way. Ideally, if you can, the right foot all the way back into the body. No space there between the upper and lower legs. And again, you can't rush it in just the minute and a half I've been talking. Right? Inhale, line them over that left leg. Exhale, and fold. Although I'm sure there's some of you out there that are probably cursing me right now. You're talking too much, John. It's part 1. We do lots of review. 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, head up, and then we'll exhale and release. We're skipping lotus, just seated lotus just for now. We're going to take Tirya Mukha on the other side. So that left knee points forward and the toes point back. All right, we're going to sit up nice and tall. Notice I'm trying to keep my femur bones parallel to one another. Again, if you're really tight, you're sitting up on a stack of pucks. We're engaging that back of the left knee, right? I'm trying to bend it deeper, even though, right, the signal to the nervous system from that left leg is like, hey, your knee's bent. Gravity's pushing your body down. You don't need to worry about bending it. Why are you bending it? Because I want you to grow more intelligent in your body, and one way to do so is kind of overriding those normal kind of reflexive systems that we have. Like the proprioceptive system right now is like, chill out on the left knee, dude. You don't need to work on it. But I'm saying consciously override that and try to bend that left knee a little bit deeper. Again, you might take the fold, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Head up, inhale, and exhale, release. All right, we're digging that left foot out. Again, we're working on Janushirshasana, head to knee pose. All right. So that left foot is back as far as you can get it. Again, we're not forcing it though. So you want to be somewhat natural. Like next week, I'll try to work on, kind of just letting the leg do the work, right? But, if you can't get that left foot back a little bit further, that's fine. Just make sure that the knee isn't feeling it. And again, if the knee's like riding high up off of the floor, that means that there's tightness in the inner hip that you need to address, right? And again, we'll work on that a bit. Inhale, line up over that right leg, and then fold, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Head up, inhale, and then exhale, release. All right, we inhale straight out the left leg, nice and strong. We're going to bring up in double pigeon. This is something I always suggest to students is work on double pigeon. All right, so we're making sure that both shins are stacked upon one another and that the knees are roughly at 90 degrees, right? Maybe a little bit less, but certainly not fully bent here. Here I've got let's do right leg on top. I apologize. Right leg on top. So I got my left leg under. All right, I've got my right knee stacked above my left ankle, and I have my right ankle stacked above my left knee. As a matter of fact, between the ankle and the heel, there's going to be a little pocket for the side of your knee to kind of support, okay? We're going to push through both heels, sit tall, inhale. And as you exhale, we might be folding out and over. Now, you can certainly take the fold if you've got super tight hips and you're just like falling backwards, then you got to sit up on something. It might be a really big stack of books. Like I've seen students where I had to get them a stool. Anyway, when we're moving the body forward in space, we're trying to get into those rotators. I like to take my hands here to the thighs and actively externally rotate. So my thumbs are on top of the thighs, but I'm working my fingers underneath the thighs as I move into the forward fold. Now, something else I wanted to say about this posture. Yes, those of you with great flexibility, I want you to actively press the right foot into the left knee, if it's comfortable enough, and the left foot down into the mat, right? So that you're activating those muscles more so than just stretching. 3 more breaths, we'll say. 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, come on up. And we'll just take the switch. Right leg underneath of left. Again, there's a little space between the ankle and the heel for which you can rest on that right knee. I've got ankle above knee, knee above ankle. Sit tall, inhale. I might have my hands on those 1940s thighs. I don't know. I mean, I get her drift when she says 1940s legs, that's for sure. But yeah, just skinny. That's all. That's all. But I'm actively externally rotating as I, again, try to move the spine forward. You want to think Dandasana here. All right. Again, those of you with great flexibility, activate. Push down into the floor, into legs. I actually like it myself. It does kind of intensify the experience, but we're also engaging those muscles. 2, breathing full. 3, 4, and 5. Good inhale, let's come on up. Exhale, gently release. We'll straighten out those legs. All right, we'll do one more thing here as we set ourselves up for half lotus. So I want you to lift that right foot up. You're going to catch that right foot with both hands. All right, we're going to sit up nice and tall. I do realize that some of you might not be flexible enough to even, kind of achieve some of the shapes we might take here in a moment. But notice knee at 90, and I'm starting to swing my right heel towards my left shoulder. So somewhat simulating that double pigeon posture again. I'm moving the spine forward. I want to lift that right foot up nice and high, and I actually just want to kind of move the entire torso, relax deeply into the right hip, and then gently start to swing the right foot left and right so that I'm rotating in that socket joint of the hips. Now, I'm going to keep my left hand on the right foot. As I do that little swing, I'm taking my right hand underneath of my knee, and then I'm going to close the knee joint directly, moving my heel towards my gut. And I'm squeezing now my right hand. Notice my right knee is more in a Janu Shirshasana shape. So from here, the only thing I want to do is readjust my pelvis. Right now, this somewhat simulates the knee, the right knee moving more towards midline. But I'm trying to move my entire torso with it. Now, as I do, I might be nestling the blade edge of that right foot into the crease of that left hip. Again, quite desirable here. Now, again, you might stay here. That's totally fine. There's no problem with that. Those of you that have the bound variation, that's cool. I think I'm going to stay here today, though. I like this posture. Now, one, we're breathing deeply. Now, if you notice, I'm not trying to push my knee down. As a matter of fact, in some cases, I want to feel like I'm pushing my knee up into my hand. Two, since my right hand is back behind my right knee, as I engage the hamstring, I can feel it squeeze my hand. So work on that a little bit as well. Grow more intelligent in that right leg. 4, sit tall now, sit tall. And 5. Then we're going to inhale, gently release. Notice I swing the knee out, I unravel, and place the left leg down. Let's work on that left hip now. We're cradling here. It's a pretty loose cradle, quite honestly. I'm trying to draw this line between toe and forehead, all right? Sitting tall, the spine nice and tall, like Dandasana. All right, now I've got, now I'm gonna just kind of ease into that left hip a little bit, all right? So I'm rocking the torso left and right, all right? Then I wanna start to not just rock the torso, right? I'm not just moving from my waist, my hips. My hip joint in this case, I can actually start to move the left leg independent of the torso. All right, so it's just a very gentle rocking motion. Right? And what we're doing here is just kind of letting the body move naturally into the shape in which it will accept, and at the same time working on increasing synovial function, right? The fluids that help keep that joint nice and loose. Now, the left hand has been released. I take the left hand behind the knee. All right, I can stop the rock. As I start to close that left knee joint, I'm squeezing my left hand. Again, I'm in this Janu Shirshasana shape, but then I'm readjusting my pelvis, right, and moving my torso in a perpendicular kind of fashion in relation to that right straight leg. Right? So again, if you have the bind, you might take it, but otherwise, maybe we stay right here, all right? Or you're cradling, something like that, all right? So I'm sitting tall. So 1, again, here I want to work on engaging the back of the left hamstring. 2, I'm squeezing the left hand. 3, so it's good work to do, I gotta say. 4, and 5. Good. Now, I'm unraveling. I'm opening the body a little bit to the left. I'm then straightening out that left leg, and I'm lowering that left leg back down. I have a feeling I got to wrap things up. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Right? Again, those of you who have kind of tighter hips and that knee just won't rest down in Janu Shirshasana, we can affect those adductors more immediately in Baddha Konasana. And if that's the case, if you're rounded, or you have difficulties folding, again, sit up on a stack of books. I love doing it, that's for sure. No books handy right now, though. So we're going to inhale, sit tall, and then exhale and fold for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good, inhale, head up. Good, and then exhale. I want you to keep the shape of the legs and recline. So recline, bound angle, soles of the feet together, arms by your sides, those palms are turned face up. Just rest here, 5 deep breaths. I'm not going to count, just 5 deep breaths. Bring those knees together into the chest and rock them up. All right, well, that's it for today. I do hope this was helpful, especially for those of you who might just be getting their first instruction into Lotus. Hopefully this demystifies. Actually, it's a posture that is not as complicated as it actually seems on the surface. So I do hope this was helpful. Please feel free to comment Send me a message, do whatever you'd like, and ask me questions about it. I love this books. All right. Everyone have a wonderful evening. I have an 8-year-old right now in the shower who's been in the shower basically this entire time, and I can hear that water running. Like such a dad right now. Get out of the shower! All right. Well, namaste, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Please take care of yourselves. And I know this is a very difficult time. We've got one thing on top of another on top of another. Just every day, do good. Right. That's all we have to do. Right. Is do good. I'm not saying don't worry about the state of things out there right now. Just be a good person. All right. And things will work out. Okay. I love you all. I miss you all. And please be safe. Namaste.